Object pronouns. Position. Okay, let's look at our pronouns. First of all, you know your subject pronouns. That's the person or the thing doing the verb. We have je, I, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle. Every time we conjugate a verb, we do it in that order with those subject pronouns. So we know those pronouns. Next of all, we have the direct object pronouns. The direct object, of course, is the thing being verbed. Just as the subject is the person or the thing doing the verb, the direct object is the thing being verbed. Me, or M apostrophe, if it's next to a vowel, me. Te, you. Le, him or it. La, her or it. Nous, vous, les, them, and les, them. Then we have our indirect objects, which is like saying to me, to you, to them. Again, me, that's the same. Te, lui, which means to him. Or if we're talking about a thing, we use the pronoun I, to it. Lui, again, we use to her. I, for a thing, for a feminine thing, that is. Nous, to us. Vous, to you. Leur, if we're talking about a person, to them. Or once again, if we're talking about a thing, we use I. I with a thing, whether it be singular or plural, to them. Leur, again, if it's feminine, a person, to them, or I if it's a thing. The reflexive pronoun se is both a direct and an indirect object, depending on its context. Here are a couple of examples. If we use il se lave, he washes himself. That's a direct object. Il, he's the subject, lave is the verb, se is the direct object, he washes himself. Himself is the direct object of his washing action. He is the thing being washed, so it's a direct object. Il se parle, however, is he talks to himself, so it's an indirect object. I generally refers to things and places rather than to people. For example, as we saw on the couple of pages ago, tu as réussi à tes examens. Oui, j'y ai réussi. Yes, I succeeded at them. We've got, it's à tes examens, the idea of à, so we must use I, to, and it's a thing. It's a plural thing, so we use I. Singular or plural, if it's a thing, we use I. I also can have the meaning of there, as in a place. Tu as vu Pierre au cinéma? Oui, j'y ai vu Pierre. Yes, I saw Pierre there. And again, we've got a in that construction, au cinéma. The pronoun en has a great many meanings, including some, any, of it, and of them. For example, avez-vous des fauteuils? Have you some chairs? Oui, j'en ai acheté. Yes, I bought some of them. In English, we often drop the of them. In French, you can't. You must always include it, so you must always include the en. Also, just as with I, it incorporates that idea, that preposition a, to, whether it be a place or a verb that takes a. In the same way, en incorporates the idea of de. Again, whether it's a verb that has de, or de is in a preposition. So, en avez-vous? Do you have some of them? Oui, j'en ai. Yes, I have some of them. And then, c'est un bon vin rouge. J'en ai acheté 2 bouteilles. I bought 2 bottles of it. So, a little note here. When you're using numbers in French, you must include the number and you must include the en. J'en ai 4. I have 4 of them. So we've got the 4 there. In English, we could just say, yeah, I've got 4. In French, you must have the en. I have 4 of them. J'en ai 4. You must include it. So all of these pronouns come before the verb, except in the imperative affirmative, which we will talk about later on. This is just a general rule. Pronouns in French come before the verb. That's the simple rule. This means when we're talking about the passé composé, for example, it comes before the auxiliary verb because that for our purposes, is the verb that we're interested in. The past participle is only part of the verb. It means also, if we're talking about the futur proche, je vais faire quelque chose, it must come before the infinitive, the correct verb, not before the aller. I'll go into that later on. The point is, be aware of which is the relevant verb and which is the relevant part of the verb. You must focus on that, and then it's easy. The pronouns come before the verb, So when they come before the verb, they come in the following order if there is more than one pronoun. So this is a rule. These pronouns must come in this order, and this must be adhered to. First of all, ne, if it's a negative. You may not have all of these. In fact, it's highly unlikely you will. But this is the order that they come in. Ne, first of all. Then we have me, te, ce, nous, vous, the reflexive type pronouns. Next column is the direct objects, le, la, les. Next is the indirect pronouns, the lui, leur. Then we have I, then en, and then we have the verb, whether it be the auxiliary or the present tense or whatever it is, and then we have pas. You might notice there that it starts off large and goes small. Is it this way? This could be another way to remember it as well. 4 or 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, and then verb. Some people like to remember it as a flag, whatever works for you. Okay, here are some examples. Il me la montre. He shows it to me. Je te les donne. I give them to you. Il m'en a donné. He gave me some of them. And note here that those pronouns are coming before the auxiliary, a donné. They don't come before the past participle, they come before the verb, which is the conjugated verb, which in this instance is avoir, the auxiliary verb, which is the pertinent part of the passé composé that we're interested in. Nous vous y avons vu. We saw you there. And again, they're coming before the avant. Okay, note, lui and leur are not to be used with me, te, ce, nous, vous. So if you want to use them in the same sentence, you must put them afterwards and use the disjunctive pronoun there after a. Je vous présente à lui. I introduce you to him. Il me présente à eux. He introduces me to them. So you've got your vous and your me before your verb, and then the other pronouns, lui and leur, which we can't use leur. We've got them after the verb. We've got our preposition a, and then we must use the disjunctive pronouns. That's why it's there and it's not leur. À lui, well, that's a disjunctive pronoun, but à eux, because we have to use disjunctive pronouns after prepositions. See your disjunctive pronoun screencast.